Hello, this is Gray Hughes of Gray Hughes Investigates on YouTube. Please hit that like button, share, and subscribe. Today's video is regarding the Cypress 3 homicides that took place on August 18th, 2024, about 6 months ago. And we covered that when it happened. It was a crazy case where three individuals. We have Kelly Masciarelli, who's the mother of Kolin Forster, and Forster's girlfriend, Cameryn Richard. Now, all three were killed on the second floor of the house with a gun, and then the house was set on fire to hide the evidence that was left at the scene. The individual in this case showed up, and there's another vehicle driving this person, so they got there around 5:30 a.m. And it kind of reminds you of the Elizabeth Barraza case, and I think that was in Tomball, Texas, where she was putting together a garage sale, and an individual, a female-looking person, but it was actually a male dressed up as a female, said something to her, then shot her, then stepped over on top of her and finished her off. It was absolutely brutal. And then after that, the person walked back, got in the car, and drove away. But prior to that, the vehicle had been kind of circling around very similarly to this case. All right, so what we're going to do here is watch the surveillance footage. And then after the surveillance footage, I'll show you where I think a lot of the shots were taken. And there's some that I don't know, and they also don't have the correct time on some of the shots. Doesn't make sense, and some of them don't have time on them, and some of them are way later than they possibly could be. All right, so here we go. Let's play it. All right, there is the vehicle driving by this is probably a police officer's house right here, because there's 5 surveillance cameras on it, and there's actually a cruiser parked out the front of the house. And as you can see down there, it's 5:41. It first started off at 5:37. Now it's 5:41. And some of these cameras pick up the vehicle moments after, like it's just another camera shooting the same moment in time. In this case, it takes off, leaves for about 6 minutes. We don't have any footage of where it was out there. Right now it's turning down a cul-de-sac, but not the cul-de-sac that the homicides took place on. And there's the vehicle driving down the cul-de-sac. And these are all these shots are from the exact same camera, or the house. You can see across the street that same house is in a lot of the different shots. So this is 5:48 and 6 seconds. Now, after it went to the end, turned around and came back. And then I think another camera picks it up right now, continuing that same drive. Actually, I don't think I put this clip in the right order in terms of time, but it doesn't make sense because this is actually the house where the homicides took place, and it doesn't look like you could actually get there in that short amount of time. So now we're back to here at 5:48 and 12 seconds. That's the shot that would have picked up the previous shot. So it's virtually impossible for the camera to be where I just showed it. So that clock is off on the camera near the murder scene. And this is on the street to the side of where the homicides took place. And this is earlier. We don't know what time this is because there's no time on it. And it's driving by. And this is just after he was dropped off on an adjacent street. You'll see here in a minute the vehicle drive by. Now, they believe he was dropped off in this next shot. You can see right there, it's 6:03 and 53 seconds. They believe he went into the house at 6:06 and he left at 6:11 after shooting all 3 of the victims. Now, they believe he was dropped off right here. We don't know what the time is on this shot, but the car doesn't stop that long, and then it turns. But we don't know if they edited out the time that it stopped. So it turns around and then drives back. But they think that he was just dropped off. Now he's going to be walking the same direction as the car. And that's what we just saw a minute ago with him walking, was him a little bit further down that street. Now this shot, I do not know where this is. So if you can find the driveway in the neighborhood that has the bricks on it, let me know. But look at the time. It says 6:19. At the press conference, they said at 6:14 he'd left the area and got onto a freeway. So again, these two shots, they're at the same residence, it looks like. They are incorrect, I believe. These don't make any sense at all. It says 6:19. Now here is a shot. We don't have the time on this, but this is going to be around 6:04, 6:05. See him moving up in the top of the screen. He's going through a little park. And then to the left of him right there is the house that he goes into. So there's a fence over there. And then he climbs over. He commits the murders and he comes back out. And now this is the same park, but a different camera facing a different direction. And this is the street that he was walking on earlier. But now he's coming back from the crime scene. And then that car right over there, looks like these are sped up, like somebody had mentioned earlier on a live stream that I was on. And that's the car that was driving around the neighborhood, and he was also in that car. See how fast that car is driving by? So this is probably sped up double speed. And then he got into that vehicle and drove away. Now, this sequence right here is also another camera at that park, and it will show you as it pulls up here and it turns right, it's heading off onto a freeway. And apparently that was around 6:14, so it doesn't make sense that that other clock was later than that, the other shots, so that's just obviously an error. Okay, so if you have any information about this case, call the FBI at 1-800-225-5324. Okay, so now let's use this Adobe Premiere now to try to figure out, I'll show you where all these shots are. So this is the first one at 5:37:37. And that is right here. So if you look across the street, that one doesn't show it, but you can see right there, there's the stop sign. And just look at the patterns right here. And then a couple trees right there. Those are those two trees. There's the pattern, and it's filming that intersection. All right, so in that shot right there, the car is driving by like this down that street. Okay, so it's going like this. And that is at 5:37:37. So we'll just play it as it drives by. And now, that's the camera on the side of the house. And look at it, it's 5:37:40. So a camera just on the side of the house right here filmed that. And you can see right there, see the fence and then that smaller fence. A tree right there. I'll show you that in that shot. Let's open that up. And there it is. There's the smaller little fenced-in area. There's the other fence. So there's a camera on that side of the house filming the car going that direction. And that's 5:37:43. And then about 4 minutes later, it's coming back again this direction, same camera. And then it picks it up on this camera. So it's just like if you were doing a movie and you had different cameras, you can switch over to them. And then it drives through the intersection that way. So if we're looking at it, let's back up a little bit. So that camera right there was filming it going down that street right there. Now we don't have any footage, I don't think, from down in that area, but maybe there is some. Maybe some of the unknown clips are from down in that area. All right, so let's keep watching. So it's 5:41 and 24 seconds. And I'll show you why in a minute, why their clip, the time doesn't make sense when it's in the cul-de-sac. So it's 5:47:21 seconds. Now it's going down this street right here. So that's the street that I'm on right here. It's going that direction. So let's go up in the air, and as you can see, it's a cul-de-sac. But that isn't the cul-de-sac where the homicide took place. That's over here. It's this cul-de-sac. It's only, there's not too many cul-de-sacs in the area, but that's where the car is going right now in that shot. And let's get back to here. And you can see the car driving by. That's, again, another camera on that house. That's the third different camera. And you can see it drive way down there. And then in this shot right here, it drives by, and that's another camera on the same house. See that house right across the street right there? That is right here. Let me get the street view. And that's that house right there. So there must be a camera, and I think it's this camera right there on that house. It looks like there's another one that was filming right there, and then another one up there. I mean, they got tons of cameras on that house. And there it goes. It's going back down the cul-de-sac, and that is at 5:48:06, and now it's coming back. So let's see what time that was when it originally drove by. 5:47:27. And then there's another clip, obviously, that starts right now, and now it's 5:48:07. It's probably a motion-activated camera. And it's always recording 10 seconds or so until it detects motion. And then it has it all the way over here into the cul-de-sac where the homicides took place if you were going by the time. So if you look down here, it says 5:47:52. And then this is 5:48:12, so it's virtually impossible for it to have done that. Now right here, see, it's 5:47:28, and it's driving down. And you could throw that clip in there and make it seem like it's the correct clip, because it's also going down a cul-de-sac, but it's not the right one. It's absolutely impossible. So down here there is a tree, and things look similar. I mean, I guess I could go over here and take a look. All right, so that was pretty crazy trying to find this, but I went off the air for a little bit because it took me another 20 minutes just to find where this house was. So right on this house right there, I think there's a camera, and it's filming. You know, you have this pole, and then these two trees show up, and then in that shot you see the tree, but it's, you know, obviously it's widening the lens so everything looks smaller. It's back in the distance, and you can also see this roof right here. So if we go back to the video, you can see there's the pole on the corner. So just look at it like that. Let me fix that a little bit. Let's go back to Google Earth and see right there. Imagine a camera being right there. Then you see this little bit of a sidewalk. Then it ends. You've got this little, like a little bit of bricks or something right there, or, you know, missing grass. And then it goes a little bit here. Then there's a pole, and then these two trees. Okay, so if we go to the surveillance, you got, see the little bear curves in. There's the pole, then the two trees, and then that house right there, you can make out there's a little window right there, and then there's a white side right there. And if you look at Google Earth and you turn around, you got that, and then it's white right in there. So this is where that shot was taken from. And you can also see right there the white area. I should have noticed that earlier, but it's right here. These, I don't know if they're mailboxes. Looks like it, yeah. Looks like they're mailboxes. So you can definitely see that also in the video. So there you go. All right, so I just already adjusted where it goes in the video as well. So let's take a look at that. So now we have the car driving down the cul-de-sac. Now here it is at the end of the cul-de-sac, driving around. And then it exits, and now it's coming back out the other direction, and that's 5:48. So let's do the timing again. So this is 5:47:28 seconds, and I'll just play it for you. 5:47:30 seconds. Then at 5:47:53 seconds, it's at the end of the cul-de-sac, driving slowly, killing time. I mean, maybe they're looking for another victim. I don't know. We don't know if it was just random. And now they're heading back out the same way, and this is 5:48:08 seconds. So that was good to be able to place that clip somewhere now. And then at 5:48:12 seconds, it's on the same house. And then it drives by. I don't think they pick it up with that same camera on the side of the house. And now there's this sort of rogue clip that we don't know what the timing of it is, because this time, while that vehicle's driving down the same street, it doesn't do that U-turn that it made earlier when it dropped him off. So we don't know exactly when that clip is. That street he was just on is the street that he drives down to, whereas the killer walks down to be picked up at later. And so now we have him walking here. That's the killer right there, walking down the street. And now we know that that's actually at 6:03 and 58 seconds. And that shot there at 6:03 and 48 seconds, we found that one as well. So let's go back up here. That's the cul-de-sac that is not where the homicide took place. It's right here. The street that we see him driving, the car driving back and forth on right here and dropping him off, is this street. Now that surveillance shot that we just saw is after he was dropped off right here. He walks this direction, and this is where the house is that he enters. So if we go down to street view here, and you can see there's a house there, and this house match what we see. So see the angled roof, and then there's a tree behind it. You can see that in the background over there. It's just a different angle. And then there's this roof here that looked good, but then there's a chimney there, and you couldn't see it. But guess what? There is a chimney right there. See that? It's just blown out by the camera. There's just a top of it right there, and everything else matches. So he was walking by right there, and he was dropped off apparently a little bit further up the road. And the other clip that you're seeing when he's driving by is right here. So when the vehicle drives by, let's go show you on the surveillance footage. So it's right here is another shot of that same street. So it's near the end of where it starts turning, and you can see across the street a couple of these houses. So if you go to Google Earth, and we just probably about right there is the angle. It's on likely this house right here. Could even be that one, I guess. No, looks like I can see that driveway with the rocks on it. It's this one right here is filming straight out, shows the car drive by, and then it turns and goes that way. The time apparently that he drops off the killer, it actually goes like this, and he turns around and then comes back this way. So let's take a look at that. And here he is walking. He's walking down that street. So it's an adjacent street, one street over from the cul-de-sac where the homicide took place. So I had thought earlier that that one time he does the loop, it's actually down the cul-de-sac where the homicide took place, but it wasn't. I mean, it's amazing because it looks very similar. I just assumed it was. So I'm glad we were able to figure that out. So right here, apparently he had just dropped him off, and now the car is going to do a U-turn and then follow back towards him. It makes you wonder if that first time, that it drove by, he dropped him off, and then he drove back down and then came back around again. Don't know, but maybe he's giving him time to walk all the way to that park area. And now this is footage that we don't know what this is. It says 6:19 and 29 seconds. There's the car seemingly driving slow. It doesn't make sense because they told us at the press conference that at 6:14 it was already leaving the area. So I don't know where this is. If you can find these two clips right here, this one and this one, no, not that one, these two right here, this one right there, it's 6:19:34, and then 6:19:33. It's literally should be the same camera. It's just in the same house, and the two cameras are synced and are likely off. So if you can find that, let me know. Now we've got these two shots right here. And they're interesting because you can see him walking back there. And now they have this sped up. I'm almost think I'm going to slow this down. Let's do speed and duration. right here. We'll make it, let's do like 60%. Let's see how this works. So now he's walking over there. That looks a little bit more normal. It's probably still a little fast. You can see him walking at the top of the screen up there. And that's going to be about 6:06, because a minute ago we just saw him walking at, this is, let's see, 6:03 and 51 seconds. So apparently, as he walks down the street, another minute or so, then he cuts across right here, and then you see him walking back here. And where that is on the map is right here. Let's do it. So he gets dropped off and he walks this direction, and then it's not really too far. Look at, that's where the surveillance is. And then just 2 houses down, he would cut across, and then apparently he's back here walking through. There's a swimming pool right here. That's where that camera is actually filming this. Looks like they've changed it to just 2 tennis courts, though, recently. That there isn't a little miniature basketball court anymore. So this is where the camera's filming him walking. So he's walking back like this, and then he comes around, and apparently at 6:06 enters the house. So, but he actually enters the house through the back door. He walks along the fence, goes in the back, and there's no forced entry at all. He goes into the house and he kills all 3 people with a gunshot, then lights the house on fire, and then at 6:11 is leaving the area. And apparently in this scenario he walks this way along the fence and then out right around here. So let's take a look at that next shot. So this is again when he's going to the house. They don't have any time frame on this. And then here he is at the end. You can see him right over there moving. See that? He's moving right there. It's kind of small, but you can definitely see it. And I've slowed it down. So there he goes. Just right there, walking. And then amazingly, when he's walking, that car seems to know exactly when he's going to be there. So did he get on his phone and say, yeah, I'm ready? I mean, it's crazy. And then just like in the Barazik case, you see the car there. Now this one, the lights are turned off, but you can see movement over here. And then the person gets in, I believe, the passenger seat. And then eventually he starts driving and then turns his lights on after the car is moving. So see that? It's driving away. Now let me show you where that sequence took place. So there is a parking lot right there. And if we go up in the air, that means that video was filmed right here. And as you can see, the killer probably came through like this and then across and walked that direction. See that? And then there's a street right there that he gets into. So that means right over here, he gets into that car they said at 6:14, and they see it going this direction. All right. Then there's another clip over here by there's now 2 tennis courts, so it doesn't look like that. It actually looks like this. The tennis court is over here, and you'll see that in the next shot. And I guess it's moving right now. Could be paused. Yeah, there. Well, this is him walking. So we're back. We rewound it a little bit. So he gets back in. He gets in that car, and then he takes off. So here's the other shot. See the tennis court right there? And then you can see the vehicle in another shot. You'll see it here pull up in a minute. And I slowed it down. So there it goes right there, and then it takes a right. Okay, so from that angle, that means it drives like this and takes a right. So if you look up in the air, this is exactly what we predicted he did on when we originally covered the case. I said that he likely parked a car here. If they're searching right here, he likely parked a car here. And then look at the proximity to freeways. So he came out like this, and then boom, he's out of here. He went that way. And then right there's an actual freeway, and this is probably like a highway right here. That's an expressway. So he got on the expressway, and then he could get into a highway and leave. So it almost feels like it's a hired hit of some sort. All right. So, you know, you got a couple clips out there that I don't know what they are, but apparently, you know, he's driving around, killing time, and at one point he goes down here, drives around, and exits, and then at the very end, around 6:03 or so, he's dropped off right in this area, and then he walks this way, cuts across over here, goes around by the fence, goes through a gate, and then goes into the backyard, and I guess he apparently didn't have to break in. It was unlocked. He goes inside the house, goes up to the second floor, and kills all 3 victims, and then with a gun, and then sets the place on fire. And then at 6:11, he's exiting right here, going this direction, comes out, walks down, I think right to this area, gets into the vehicle at 6:14, and then drives away, and that camera shows him going this direction down the highway. So they've got lots of surveillance here, and they've got really good images of the car. I'm surprised they aren't able to tell us exactly what type of car it is. Seems like that should be relatively easy. There are some really good shots of it. All right, well, I hope you guys found this interesting. I love doing this kind of stuff. This is kind of my wheelhouse. I appreciate you, and if you could hit that like button for me, I would really appreciate it. Thanks for watching. And by the way, could you share the video? Go out and share it with other people. I think other people would find this interesting. So thank you all very much for watching, and as I always say, until next time, be safe out there.